letting it in weighs more than just like telling.
The stigma is still very real.
It's really sad.
Well.
No. Ho ho ho.
Okay, yeah, it's Christmas season. Are you excited for Christmas?
Actually, well, yes, I'm excited for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not in like the same way, not as like a child thing, but it's like, damn, I can't believe the year is coming to an end and I can finally do my 50 questions for myself, because I usually do this mini tradition where I ask myself, oh, how are you, 2023 Jenny?
She just dead named herself.
I just dead named myself.
That's crazy. Anyway.
Are you excited for Christmas?
I am always excited for Christmas. I'm excited for every single holiday just because I love celebrating things and like dressing up and, you know, like having the family celebrate. And I like the build up to Christmas because it's so, it's just so festive.
And fun.
It is.
Is Christmas your favorite holiday?
No, I like Valentine's.
Aw,
Yeah.
It's because it's pink and love.
It's pink and it's love. And like the stuff that they release on Valentine's is so cute. Like, I was about to say merch. Like, what is it called? Like, you know, the festive, like they sell
Hearts.
Yeah, hearts or roses, and sometimes they sell snow globes as well with like really cute decorations
And
inside them.
trinkets, with like couple trinkets.
I love it.
Cute.
I love it.
Then is Christmas second or is it third?
Third.
And then it's Halloween for you?
Halloween is second. Yeah, so it's Valentine's, Halloween, Christmas. You like Halloween, right?
I do like Halloween. I like Halloween. Halloween's probably my favorite one, and then it would be Valentine's, and then it would be Christmas. I'm not like, I don't know. I just like, if it was really, really cold, I think I would really enjoy Christmas because I like feeling warm and stuff like that. But it is so hot. Like, it was 36 degrees.
Yeah, that's true. It was 36 degrees today.
Oh my goodness.
I was dying. I was sweating.
I'm sweating. This is Australian weather, guys. Like, I mean, like, all hail Australia. We love you, but
Yeah.
damn.
You know, one of my friends said that if they didn't know any better, they would think that we're American.
For real?
Yeah, I was like, huh.
Is it because of our accent?
Yeah, it is because of our accents. We're Australian, but we have American accents.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna move this, but I'm in my red today with a little corset. Or it's not a corset, but it looks like one.
When you said Santa Claus, I was like, And then I realized, I was just, oh my gosh, yes, the black corset can use like his belt.
Yeah, he wears a belt. And then I've got reindeer ears because just Christmas. And then I've got a red bow in the back. Can you see
She went
it?
all out.
Is it showing?
Yes, it is. She
Cute.
went all out. She went all out.
Yes, because I like dressing up for these.
I'm so excited because I'm getting my glasses soon. I've been having the worst headaches this past week because I just need new eyesight. I can't see for the life of me.
She needs new eyesight. Okay, babe.
It will come soon.
It will.
Soon. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of 2 Cents and a Mic. My name is Jenny, and today the host of this episode will be
Carissa. So, I don't know if you could guess what my topic was. Basically, I told Jenny that today's topic will be something around being toxic.
Can I guess?
Okay, guess.
Is it like what our red flags are?
No, it's not. Is that what your guess was? That's like, you thought that was the entire episode?
Not an entire episode, but like dabbling into it, like our flaws and all that.
No, that's not what my episode today is about.
Okay.
My episode today is about emotions.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's delving into the emotional world. We're going to talk about societal expectations about emotions. So, my first question to introduce us to this is, what do you do when you're at your most emotional?
I cry, like as in emotional, as in like
any emotion. It can be happy, it can be sad, it can be angry. Like, what do you? I just want to know. Like, you can choose an emotion and decide what do you do?
If I'm really sad, I'll cry and I'll like write about it and I'll hold myself in my room. And I really, really like to be alone when I'm really sad. Like, I like to be in my own space. When I'm really, really happy, or like when I'm just like in a very happy mood, I will not, let me think. I will nonstop talk. I'll be like the most talkative person ever. Like I would not shut up, and I'll just always really, really, really want to talk. You know, like it's just my extrovert comes out basically.
Mhm.
My extrovert comes out. What's another emotion?
Angry.
Angry. When I'm oh my god, when I'm angry, it kind of depends who I'm with. If I'm like, okay, if I'm angry, I'll be silent. If I'm pissed, I'll talk.
Mhm.
Like I'll show it through my actions, and I'll say stuff like I'm really picky who I'm angry with, if that makes sense. It's like if you're a stranger and you piss me off, and I will make, and like you piss me up in a way where you just like you throw a piece of chicken at me.
Oh.
Okay, I won't go into that, but like
I mean, you can tell the story if you want to.
oh okay, maybe later. Maybe
Okay.
later.
Okay.
But like if someone like pisses me off, like intentionally tries to piss me off, I'll say something and I'll do something back to them. Like I'm not afraid to stand up for myself when it comes to that. If it's my friend that I'm pissed at, I'll just keep it to myself because I just majority of the time I just like don't want to cause any trouble, basically. Okay, what about you? How are you with your emotions?
Well, when I'm sad, I block everyone out. I have to function on my own, otherwise I can't process my emotions. Same with angry. Oh, well, actually angry, like I'll let it out a little bit, but then like eventually I'll draw back and be like, you know what? I'll deal with this on my own. And happy, I don't know what I'm like when I'm happy. Happy, I'm just happy. Happy is fine with expressing. I think it's more negative emotions that I like draw out. Whereas like positive emotions they can be out and free. But yeah, I'm gonna go into that later. But my second question is, do you think you can control your emotions well?
No.
Why is that?
I can't control my emotions well because like it needs to at some point it just needs to come out. Like I can't hold it into myself for very long. I need to tell them. Like how my friend once told me, he was just like, this is how you work, okay? You will send a signal that you're unhappy or you're sad or you're mad or whatever like that, and then you'll disappear, and then you'll come back with a fat paragraph, and I'm just like, oh, so that's how I am. And they're like, yep. And I'm just like, yeah, it kind of makes sense because like I try to keep it in and I want them to ask and I want them to know, but eventually I just need to spew it out. I need to tell you what you did, not what you did wrong, but it's like it's very weird because when I asked my therapist about it, when I told my therapist about it at one point, because when I used to go therapy, they were kind of like, do you want a reaction from them? And I'm just like, I want them to feel bad, but at the same time, that's not really the main thing. It's just, I just want to make my emotions known. Like, if I block out my emotions and I like ignore it, I don't want them to think that like they can do that to me again. And so I feel like I need to like say why they annoyed me, why they hurt me, why they did all those things, and like whether or not they respond to it, to me it's like, oh, at least I told you.
You got it out of your system.
I got it out of my system, and they know, and I don't have to like keep it in. There's no like regrets or anything like oh, because the thing that pisses me off is like when movies, I know I shouldn't compare this to movies, but then like it just pisses me off when they're like, why didn't you tell me all this time? And then I'm kind of like, and it just pisses me off. That's why if some things can change just by me telling you how I really feel, and if it doesn't change, then it doesn't change, but at least like I said something. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you're an overly emotional person or like highly emotional person?
It depends on my mood, but yeah, I am.
What do you mean depends on your mood?
It depends because like sometimes you hit that like sometimes I hit that place of like I don't want to do anything anymore and I just want to block out, and there's no point of expressing, there's no point of anything, and I just turn into a blob. I turn into a block, and I'm kind of like I don't care. Yeah. And at that point it's like I'll just live my life or whatever. Are you an emotional person, Carousel?
Yes. Actually, I used to think that I was a very emotional person, but I think I changed it so that I'm not an emotional person because I don't like expressing emotions to people, like overly expressive. I find that if I become overly expressive, I feel annoying. Do you get that feeling or no?
Oh, I do feel annoying, yeah. But I think holding it in weighs more than just like telling, like keeping it in. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's kind of like I need to tell that person. Like they don't have. For me, it's more of like I don't need you to do. Okay, For me, it's like I've done my job. Like you can either do whatever you want. I don't care what you do. Like I would feel nice if you did something or like helped me get through it. But if you decide not to do it, then it's no different from me whether I told you or not. So it's like at least you know. If you don't want to do anything about it, then don't do anything about it. That's kind of like my mindset. But I get what you mean by like you might annoy them and stuff like that. I feel like that.
Interesting. Not like, okay, I'm not saying that it is, but do you think it's kind of like a case of I would rather have my emotions it's not so much I would rather have my emotions out, it's more that you just want them to realize that they've made a mistake, right?
Yeah.
Not so much like I want to hurt you because you hurt me. Yeah.
I don't want to hurt them. I don't want them to know, like I don't want them to know in the purpose of like you hurt me, but it's more of like you said, yeah, I want you to know because like I want you to know that you did hurt me. Don't do that next time.
Yeah. Okay. Do you believe that emotions, like being emotional, is looked down upon?
Yeah, I actually do.
Why is that?
Well, it depends culturally where.
Okay, we'll say in Australia.
Let's
not get into like the cultural differences between Australia and the UK, girl. Let's stick to our home base.
I just mean like, yeah, sure, Australia or like Western. I just think that in Western countries that emotions isn't really looked down upon, and it's kind of like they're kind of like take care of them, or like they put more not effort onto them, but it's kind of more known compared to how it was before. And I think it's because of like how sometimes influencers, they're more emotional, and then they kind of like they kind of highlight that, and then they kind of say like it's okay if you feel this way and all of those things, and then they talk about therapy, or they talk about how they go through those things and stuff like that. So emotions is very like where we are, like in Western wise, I guess, I don't know how to explain it, it is not looked down upon. But I guess in terms of like it just depends on the context. So for example, in terms of toxic masculinity, some guys think that being emotional is like looked down upon because that doesn't make you like a man and all of those things. For example, another example could be like Asian culture, where they're like, oh, being emotional isn't good because you need to be logical so that you can push through and get the things that you want. Like emotions are just going to like, what is that called again? It's a burden, and it's like it's gonna stop you from getting what you want and all of those things. So it's like half. It's getting better. Like it's getting like known, and then not. What's the opposite of looked down upon?
Like awareness.
Yeah, it's
like they're just bringing awareness to the fact that it's normal
to have emotions. Yeah. So we're in an ever-changing society.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, actually, I was gonna say that I think it's still looked down upon, even though like, people are saying like get help and whatnot, but I still think that even when social media influencers like show them being vulnerable, I feel like there are still people who will be like, why are they posting this on social media? You know, like they're just doing this for blah 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 whatever reason, for clout. Or like I agree with the man thing, like it's kind of I think more on a like a, if we're not looking on a societal level, more on like an individual level, I think that seeing other people, they either hide their emotions or they're overly emotional. And like, for example, when people vent to other people, it can be seen as like, oh, they're trauma dumping on me.
Yeah. You know? Okay.
Or like, if a man is crying, it's kind of like, that's weird. Like why is he? Oh, well, okay. I don't think anyone's ever called it an ick, but I feel like it's kind of, a lot of the guys that I've talked to kind of don't really show their emotions because they have no one to show their emotions to. And I just think it's kind of stigmatized for men to show their emotions, and like a lot of guys who couldn't, what is it called? Agreed with me on that. So it's kind of like, I can see where you're coming from, and it does make sense. Like, everyone is becoming more aware that it, or like normalizing it,
but there's still some type of stigma.
Yeah, But on an individual level, I think the stigma is still very real.
I just want to say that I don't think it's an ick for a guy to cry, but I do think that there are people who see that as like, what is it called again? Like, oh, they're not a man or whatever like that. Like, oh, why are you crying and all of those things. I don't personally believe that, but then I know some people do. So I'm like,
yeah. Me too. Same as her. We're not trying to get canceled after today. Okay, guys. Another example that I had was like in the dating scene. I saw this TikTok, always referring to TikToks as my sources.
That's okay. You know, it's the University of TikTok.
It is the University of TikTok. But there was this TikTok that was talking about how like in the dating scene you have to be very nonchalant. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I feel like that is relating to emotion because it's like you have to be chill, or like you have to wait a certain amount of time. You can't be too forward, or you can't show that you're interested in them too much, otherwise like they won't be interested in you. Like, why do you think that that's a thing?
Because see, the thing is, girl, like it's very hard. I can't pick a side, okay? Because there's good reasons why for both. Okay, so I don't know which one I should go first. So what was your original question? Why do you think people want to be more nonchalant?
Yeah.
Okay, people want to come off as like nonchalant because they don't want to come off as like, I think it's because they don't want to come off as desperate. So like if you're very forward and you're very like giving and loving and all of those things, the person from the other side might be like, you don't even know me, why are you acting this way, are you infatuated, all of that. So it's kind of like, are you trying to get with me because you're desperate, are you trying to get with me because of why are you trying to get with me, why are you so interested?
There's so many new terminologies that like really put a stint in dating, like love bombing, or like, I don't know, in today's society.
No, like, but think about it, girl.
I know that it does exist, and like manipulation, emotional manipulation exists and everything like that, but like,
okay, not like that, but it's more of like, say for example, I'd say your boyfriend at the start was nonchalant.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't even interested in me.
Well, yeah, but like, yeah, well, that's the thing. I think that's the thing. It's like, because he developed those feelings, then it kind of feels more natural and all of that, right? And it's like, and even when you guys did start dating or confess to each other, it wasn't like, honey, lovely, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't like love bombed, right?
It was more
gradual. Like really gradual, right? So if he had, say, not been so, because I even if it was natural or whatever like that, the way he acted to me, that's kind of nonchalant.
It was gradual,
yeah. But if someone went love bombing like straight away, you might be like, what are your intentions? What, like, people get sus. That's why people prefer, that's why I think people might prefer nonchalant guys at first.
Yeah.
But then I think it gets to a point where it's just like, I don't want to be with a guy who's way too nonchalant, because that's the other one. It's like, why do you have to act uninterested when you don't have to? You can just be interested in me. And I think that's the point of like, see, I think it's all about a timeline. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have a timeline.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna have a point where it's like you're nonchalant and all of those things. I know it's really, I guess, cringe to be like, oh, you have to like do this, blah 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 blah. But I think it's like, for me personally, it's like if someone's nonchalant at first, it's okay. To me, it's like, okay, so you're getting to know me, and you're not gonna love on me, you're not gonna scare me away. It's like really gradual. And then like eventually, that's where like you get interested, and then I like it when a guy shows their interest in me and they show that they do like me, and then that's when they can do what they want to do. Like they can show their emotions and they can express them. Hey, what do you think about that? That's like the two sides of the coins that I think is like, yes, it's good, but then also if you keep doing it, it's like, I don't even know if you even like me. It doesn't feel like you like me, because a nonchalant guy kind of comes off as like, you know, like, doesn't really like you.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I just think that, of course, I always say this, like, there has to be a balance between things. I don't know. I know I always say that, but it's true. Guys that are too, I think both sides give me very F-boy vibes, you know, like, either you're too into it, which means like you're trying to speed things up, you're trying to do things fast, you're trying to get in there fast. And then the guys who are like nonchalant, they're like trying to be bad boy, don't care about you. So that, I don't know what, like, but some girls find that attractive. Is that true?
Yeah.
Why?
Which one?
Bad boy.
Don't
like,
care?
you know, yeah, don't care. Like, why? If they don't care about you, why would you like that?
Because they're probably breadcrumb. What is wrong with my English today? I'm so sorry, editor Carissa. You have to edit so much of this.
Okay, girl.
Okay. I think the reason why it could be like interesting for a girl is because of breadcrumbing. Another term.
There's so
many terms, but breadcrumbing.
Okay,
and,
do you think that dating back in the day was easier than this, or do you think that all of this
Yes.
existed, but they just didn't have the words for it?
oh my gosh, that's such a good point.
Hmm.
You see that? You know that the Notebook that kind of came up as, oh my gosh, she's
Yeah,
love bombing her.
Yeah, but like to her, it was really attractive. But like he was genuine about it. So,
But the
basically, in the
thing is-
Notebook, let's
Okay.
explain it real quick. Basically, in the Notebook, at the beginning, the guy just comes off really, really strong. He's like, "I want to take you out on a date. You're so beautiful." Blah 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 blah. And me and Jenny were kind of like,
Would that work on you?
yeah, would that work on you? That's kind of like, he seems so desperate, etc., etc. But to her, I don't know if it was just a movie thing or if like in that time period that was actually how it went. Someone give us a little history lesson on that. But what am I trying to say? I don't even know.
Like, was that attractive? Is that
Oh
attractive
yeah,
back then?
like, but to us that's not attractive because we see that as love bombing. But maybe that was normal back then. And yeah, that's just what we're dissing out right. That's what we're dishing out right now.
Dishing out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very. I like Filipino traditional courting style.
Why was that like?
They're like, okay, it's very. It's like they come off as forward, but it's like, how Filipino courtship. I actually really do like it because it's like they're like, I like you, and then they ask them like, can I court you? Or like they'll ask their parents, can I court you? And if they say yes, and they're like, oh, okay. If the girl's like slightly interested and stuff like that, then they will only like show affection to that, and then like once they win that girl's heart, that's when they ask them out.
That's very traditional.
That's
right?
very well. How do you feel about that traditional like aspect? Do you think it's cringe? Do you think that's love bombing? Do you see that as love bombing?
No. I don't see that as love bombing
Because they kind of declare it. They go to the parents and they're like, I want your daughter. And
I
stuff
mean,
like
if the
that.
girl wants him too, I don't see a problem with it. But if it's kind of weird if he's like, I want your daughter, and then the parents approve, and he's like, but I don't think that's how it works. Like the parents approve, and then the girl doesn't approve, and he's like, okay, now I'm gonna pursue you. That's not how it works. Right?
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
girl has to be like at least slightly interested.
Yeah. So
And be like, do whatever you want, sort of thing.
Oh.
Yeah, but then the girl doesn't have to show interest. That's the thing. It's all about winning her heart. But at the same time, that kind of time period, it's like you don't have. It's not considered dating yet. Yeah,
It's just the chase.
it's just.
I think that's fine though. Anyway.
no. That's not my question though.
Oh,
it was like,
you asked if what do I think about that?
oh,
I think it's
well,
fine.
yeah, but it was more like, do you think that's attractive or do you think that's not attractive?
Oh no, I don't think that's attractive. I don't want my parents to be involved in my dating life.
Oh yeah, okay. If they say your parents weren't involved and then
Oh.
they said that to you,
What said what to me?
it's like, I like you. Can I court you? Do you have to have like some sort of interest first?
Well, yeah. Well, that's not what I'm worried about. I'm more thinking like, how would I don't really want them to ask me. Like, just do it.
Oh,
And then I'll
really?
respond if I respond, you know? Like,
What
that's...
do you mean?
Like, if you like me, start making moves. And then if I seem like I'm interested, then I'm interested. If I don't seem like I'm interested, back off.
Oh, so you don't want them to communicate it to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? I don't want them to tell me, like, oh, I'm gonna court you. Just do it, baby girl.
What would I prefer?
Mm.
Okay, it kind of depends. Okay, it depends.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was a Filipino, I'd be like, okay, they're gonna court me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it was like someone else, because usually how people do it nowadays, it's like, I like you, and they're like,
Yeah.
I like you too, and then they get into a relationship. For me, it's more of like, I don't want to get in a relationship. Like, what if I change my mind, or like, what if I only like you a little bit? Like,
Okay.
it's like, I'm not like,
She's
it's sort
not
of like,
committed.
it's sort
She's
of
got
like,
commitment issues.
I don't have commitment issues. It's not that I have commitment issues. That's not how it is.
So look at my nails. Anyway. Okay.
But for you, you wouldn't like it. You just want them to just go for it?
Yeah, just go for it.
So how would you reject them if you weren't interested?
Just don't seem interested. You know, like if they're making moves on you, don't respond to those moves.
Oh.
Or like just tell them straight up. Maybe because I'm a very straightforward person.
I thought it's pretty straightforward to say that, like, can I court you?
Yeah, but like, why ask me for permission? Just do it.
That's true. That is very traditional.
Do you you prefer them to be like, hey, can I court you? Oh,
no! If it were me, I wouldn't mind if someone were like, oh, can I court you? If I was single. Unfortunately.
Well, duh, we're just talking about it
like hypothetically.
I'm in a relationship too. Like it's.
But hypothetically, I wouldn't mind if someone were to be like, oh, can I court you? Because to me, it's like, oh, I'm interested in you and I want to pursue you, and it's like, okay, like, and there's no pressure for me to like them back or anything like that. It's like them just let me pursue you, and then I don't know.
I feel like that gives pressure though, because then it's like,
oh, it does give pressure. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
see, I've never been in that actual
girl.
relationship. I mean, sorry, I've never been in like that situation. So, like, yeah. But I think
because when you say that, I'm like, well, they asked you, so now you're aware. Whereas, like, if they don't ask you and they're just making moves, you can act dumb and be like, oh,
yeah,
why are you doing that? Like,
that's
don't
true.
do that.
That's true.
You know? Whereas if you know that they like you, it's kind of like you have to give them an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, if you do change your mind, you're kind of seen as like, wow, you're playing with me or
you
whatever.
led me on.
How it is in, like, Filipino culture is, like, if she doesn't like you, then she just doesn't like you, and you tried your best, move on to another girl. That's how it is. Whereas, like, that's the thing, if we're mixing tradition to, like, here, it's not gonna go well.
Yeah.
So I would probably go along with what you would do, to be honest. I wouldn't want them to, like, tell me straight away.
Exactly. Yeah. Because we're in a different culture from that. So what do you think about, like, people who are overly emotional? Like, come to you. Oh, okay, they don't have to constantly come to you, but, like, people who are, like, show their emotions very often to the people that they're around. Like, always, they're very highly emotional. What do you think about those people?
Like, to everyone?
Yes.
Oh, well, I wouldn't mind per se, but I think for me, I'd be like, okay, it kind of depends, because what goes through my, if it's interesting, then I'd want to know about it. But if okay, I don't know if this sounds really mean or not, but it's like, it depends on, like, my preference, right? If it's like, if their story to me seems like, this is something, like, I want to get to know, or, like, I want to understand this story or whatever, then maybe I'll go ask about it and all of that and see, like, and have some lore. But if it's something that I'm not necessarily interested in, my head kind of goes like, oh, he vents to everybody, or she vents to everybody, they're fine.
So what about that person that we met, you know?
Oh, they were wilding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to be honest, like, I think, but then the thing is, like, despite of how emotional they are, they kind of, like, made fun of it.
What if that person, instead of making jokes out of it, they were more sad? Like, they were actually, like, talking about what happened in their life, and then they were sad about it.
I wouldn't know how to react. I feel like that's just a form of trauma dumping. Yeah. Like, then I'm kind of like, because I think I've said this before, it's just like, I don't mind listening to, like, people when they're having a hard time and all of that, but if you're a new person, if you're a new person, I kind of, like, I don't want that to be the foundation. I don't want that to be the foundation of our friendship and all of that, so I'm kind of like, like, you know, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because, like, I've had other people, like, who I've met, like, 3 other people I've met in the gaming scene, and then they just start, like, people online, I kind of get it, because I'm a stranger, or, like, you can
people have an easy time talking to strangers about
people
their
have
lives.
an easy time venting to strangers, but the stories that I've heard, they're wild. And there was this one time, this person had, like, all their Valorant points stolen, and then somebody went into their account, and then they used their credit card details. And then she was like telling me about it. I'm just like, did you call the police? And then they're like, yeah. And I'm just like,
I don't even know.
Girl.
Can the police even do anything about that?
I don't know.
I don't think they can.
I don't think they could have anything. But like, I'm
That's
like,
sad.
yeah, I know. And I'm just there like, this is how trust issues are formed. And I'm there like, girl, what made you want to give them a second chance? Change your imposters. If you guys broke up, change your imposters. What?
Yeah.
I like, you guys are wilding. And then another person was just telling me about like they like slept on the train and then they missed their stop and then I don't know, and they were all sad and depressed about it or something like that. And they said that I'm sleeping because I'm having like a hard time, and I'm kind of like,
okay.
It's okay. It's very like, I don't want to sound mean, but like I'm not the best person to go to if you're a stranger in your thing, because like at first, like once upon a time I was like okay with it, and then it just gets to a point where I'm kind of like, if this is gonna be the foundation of a friendship, I'm gonna just like slowly creep away. Yeah, so I'm not talking to the lost few people who do that to me.
Okay.
Well, what about you? Don't put me under the fire. Well, do you agree, or do you want to be there for them? Or
I agree with you. I mean, not many people vent to me in the first place, to be honest. But for like people who kind of vent out of nowhere, I don't really respond well. Like, I don't know what to say to them, and I know it's trauma and whatnot. But for me, I'm really bad at responding to that kind of stuff. Maybe because for me, I don't talk to other people about my stuff, and I'm like, why would you tell other people that kind of thing? But at the same time, I understand, because that's just how some people are, and they just want to get out of their system, or they use it as like joking, or like I don't know what people's reasoning is for that. But yeah, so I find it kind of awkward. I'm not really good at talking about emotional stuff unless you're someone who's really close to me, then I can listen, because I also get drained pretty easily. But yeah, so that wasn't really the reason I brought up this question. I kind of wanted to talk about, like, it kind of relates to the last question. I don't know if we properly answered the last question though, but it was kind of like, why is having, no, I didn't even ask this question, did I ask, why is having emotion, or like being emotional or showing your emotions looked down upon? Did I ask that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I said Western culture.
Oh.
And then like it depends on like the context.
Right.
You said that like you still think it was looked down upon, and I said like I think it's just hop. There's more awareness to it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I also wanted to say that like part of it, I think, is kind of like it's seen as childish to have like a lot of strong emotions, because children are like, okay, philosophy, or okay, psychology, but children have a hard time like emotionally regulating on their own, right? So if you're constantly going to other people about your feelings and your emotions, that means that like you can't really regulate your own emotions. And I think that's kind of looked down upon because of how not how childish it is, but because it's kind of seen as a childish trait that you can't take care of yourself or your feelings. What do you think about that?
It depends. So I think children can't regulate their emotions when it comes to like everyone.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
So like they will express it to everyone, anyone. If something bad happens, they'll just cry, right? I think that I don't think it's childish if you are to vent or to be emotional with someone who you're close with and all of those things. However, if it's like something where, oh, I'm gonna vent to literally everybody, a stranger like on site and all of that, and it's not in a way where it's like I'm making fun of it, but like crying to them, I understand, and you do that a lot of times, that's when I can be like, okay, I can see how that's sort of childish and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, it just depends on like, because there are some people who do make fun of their emotions, but it's like that's them just kind of coping. Yeah, but then there's ones who are like very emotional, and they don't make fun of what they do as like a coping thing. They just want to let it out to everybody. That's when I think it's like they can't regulate their emotions. Because for me, it's like, yes, I do express a lot, and I am an expressive person. However, I do think I can regulate my emotions. It's like it's just when I need to, and like especially recently now, if I need a vent, I have like a go-to person who I need a vent. I don't really go to, I don't know, I don't really go to people as much anymore. I have like one or two people that I'm just like, yeah, I'll just vent to you and blah blah blah, and then that's it.
So the main reason people vent to random people is because they have no one else, is what I'm hearing.
Maybe.
Oh, that's not what you were implying?
No, I was just saying that like maybe they're just, well, I wasn't implying anything, to be honest. I just said that just cause
she's just giving her thoughts.
I was just giving my thoughts.
She was giving her 2 cents.
Yeah, didn't you ask whether it was like childish or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. To be overly expressive?
Yeah.
For me, and my answer was like, if you're overly expressive to everyone, maybe, but then not in a way it's like you're just coping.
Yeah.
Because for example, our last interaction with said person, I think they weren't being emotional. I feel like they were already over it, and it was just something they laughed out. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
If someone was emotional, it would be like the vibe would like go down, and like they would be crying and stuff like that. But that person was literally laughing hysterically and stuff like that, and they just like, bro, like I don't even know I did that, and then they were just memeing and joking about it, because that's sort of like, I remember one time I was telling somebody, I was like venting to them, and then I told them like, you know what, I might be sad right now, but I know like in the future, like a year from now or something, when I'm really over this, I'm gonna laugh about this, and this is gonna be like, this is just some tragedy that's gonna turn to a comedy.
Okay, play.
Okay, Joker. What do you think?
About...
Do you think it's childish for people to express their emotions?
I don't think that it's childish to show your emotions to other people. But I think it's... No, I don't think it's childish. That's all. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not getting canceled today.
It's not childish to express your emotions.
No, of course not. I don't think it is. I mean, at the same time, I don't think you should go around like telling everybody like your sad life story.
Yeah, but you know, there are some people out there who want to help.
Yeah,
so like true, not everyone is me, and there's gonna be someone who's like willing to like tell me about it. Tell me about it. Let me help you. Blah blah blah. Those people exist, and I think like
if you're having a hard time, don't keep it to yourself. Of course, go seek help.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like, don't keep it to yourself, because obviously the more someone keeps it to themselves, like maybe they just can't tolerate it keeping to themselves. That's not really childish, in my opinion, and stuff like that.
This episode is kind of just to challenge why we think that, or like why it's kind of like stigmatized to be emotional when it shouldn't be. Because
and what's wrong with being childish?
Nothing.
Well, I don't know, like, because when we say the word "is it childish," it kind of implies like a negative connotation.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it could be considered childish, like negative, because like I'm saying some people see it negatively to show emotions, and I'm saying why? Do you think people should learn to control their emotions so that they don't burden other people?
It's really sad.
What do you think? Tell me.
It's really sad. I think there should be a balance, like Miss Chris.
Okay. So what is the difference between trauma dumping and a healthy amount of
venting?
Yes.
It's okay. The thing is with me is I always ask the person whether it's getting too much or not.
So it's all about consent.
I think it's about consent.
Okay.
I always ask like, if this is too much, you have to tell me, because like I'm not gonna stop. Like you have to tell me, and so I don't have like the expectation that someone can carry my emotions and all of those things, and so I usually just ask them like, if this is too much, just tell me, or like if you feel awkward, just tell me, or like whatever. I'm very good at shutting in my emotions at the end of the day. If nobody wants to hear it, I very quickly run back to my little hidey hole, and then I'm just like, no, I don't want to talk to anyone. I can just journal to myself and all of those things. Like I don't think it's considered trauma dumping if it's not a new person. I think trauma dumping is a term you use to somebody who you're new to. Who's new to.
So if I started talking to you about every terrible thing that happened in my life,
that's not trauma dumping to me. What do you think it is?
I never really thought about it, like,
because I kind of take trauma dumping basically the same as trauma bonding, if that makes sense.
Maybe I consider trauma dumping if it's unsolicited. Like if we were just playing Val and then all of a sudden like you started like talking about all this terrible stuff that happened, I would be like, huh. Like it's not that I wouldn't want you to do it, but like for me, trauma dumping doesn't really have that negative connotation of like you shouldn't do it. It's more of just like it means that you've just randomly started releasing all of this bad stuff that's happened to you to someone, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would consider it trauma dumping.
Okay. For me, it's like, okay, then what's the difference between trauma dumping and venting?
For me,
because once I know you,
venting is one thing.
Okay.
Like you vent about one occasion, whereas trauma dumping is like every bad thing. You're just like spiraling, you know? Do you think that time heals wounds?
Time can help you forget things.
I
don't think it necessarily heals a wound.
Why do you say that?
Well, it depends what you consider healing is.
Okay, what do you consider healing?
Healing as in like, healing to me means like it just doesn't bother you anymore as much as it did before. It's like a wound, right? Let me put you guys in an analogy.
The entire analogy, girl.
Okay, imagine guys like you got a huge scrape over here and then it just healed up, right? If you keep picking on it, it's just gonna bleed every time, okay? You have scabs over here and you keep picking on it as in like you keep thinking about it, you keep like poking, prodding, like venting about it and all of those things. Every time you do that, you're scratching it off, and then before you know it, it's just time's gonna come by and it's not gonna heal because it's still trying to like heal itself. I don't know, that analogy just didn't come out as best as I thought, but do you get it? It's like,
girl, that's the entire analogy. Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's basically it. It's just like if you keep scratching your scab, you're never gonna heal. Therefore, you just need to leave it alone, let time do its thing, and then before you know it, that scab's gonna fall off by itself and it's gonna be healed. You're not gonna feel it, like, and then when you touch it, it doesn't hurt as much anymore. And then before you know it, that scab just turns into skin. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So does time heal? Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Well,
tell me about it.
I do think it does heal wounds in the sense that like over time eventually you'll forget about it and like eventually that feeling won't be familiar to you anymore. But I still think that, okay, actually in the sense that it doesn't hurt anymore, yes, it does heal wounds, but in the sense that like you'll forget about it and you won't carry those values anymore, I don't agree.
I think you still carry those values.
Yeah, you still carry those values and you still carry the experience,
but like
with you.
when you think about it, it doesn't seem as painful as much as before. That's
actually,
what I meant.
So I think so then. Yeah. I think some wounds don't heal. It depends how deep it cut you.
Okay. Why is that smolder face? Okay.
Because it's true. Like, I just think other things that have really hurt me, if they came back into my life, it would still hurt. Just because I forgot about it doesn't mean that if it reappeared in my life, it would, like, not hurt anymore. I think it would still hurt.
That's a very interesting take.
You don't agree? Is there anything that's in your life, or that left your life, that if it came back, it would hurt you again? Do you think that problems can always be fixed on your own? Or do you think some problems you need other people to help you fix them?
Like emotional problems?
Yeah.
It varies from person to person.
Actually, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something similar. Well, I was gonna say, I think my answer will be my answer will be different to yours, because I was gonna say like, I feel like I can fix all my problems on my own because I'm an independent person. I prefer to not burden other people with my emotions.
Yeah, well, it doesn't necessarily fix my problems when I vent to someone. It just relieves me and helps me. And it's like, to them, well, it kind of differs, because when I say that, they're kind of like, they're not happy with it because they want to fix my problem, whereas it makes me feel better. Like, what I need from them is I just need them to listen and stuff like that, and they find that draining. They just want to fix it, and I'm kind of like,
do you think you could fix it without venting to people? Or do you need
Well,
to
again, I don't vent to fix things.
Mm.
I vent to like relieve myself.
Mm-hmm.
So do I need to vent? No, I don't. Does it make me feel better? Yes, it does. That's kind of it. When it comes to fixing, I can fix it on my own, I guess. Yeah, I can fix it on my own.
Okay.
Do you believe in closure?
Yeah.
Do you think that like do you believe that like things can't end without closure, or things can end without, like, how do you feel about closure? Like, do you think you need closure to move on? Okay, breathing.
Okay, breathing. Okay, breath. Guys, hear me? Oops. I don't think people can move on without closure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the time heals wounds thing, where like it just depends how hard, or not how hard, how much you care about it. Like, if it's something that is really, it just puzzles you, like, why did this happen, or like, why are they treating me like this, or like, what was the reason? I feel like you need closure for it. Whereas if it's something small, or not something small, but like something that you could let go, I think it's you don't need closure for that. What are your opinions?
My opinions on it, it's like, it kind of depends, because like there are some people who kind of keep it. This is why I always try to say what's on my mind, because if I keep it in, it's just gonna ruin me.
I feel like also, sorry, I'll just add really quickly, people will find a way to weasel their way back into your life if you don't give them closure.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Because if you leave people hanging without giving them a reason why, then they're gonna try and persist. I want to say, like, even like a really long time later, like, there's something that I want to know. And to be honest, if years down the track I had the opportunity to ask, I would, to a person. So yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's like, if someone wants to weasel back into my life and I didn't give them closure, I'd let them. Let them. But if there's certain people who I have cut off in my life, who I've sent multiple paragraphs to, and like said like, okay, I need to cut you off because of this, this, and this, or like I've had a conversation with them, like a very, very long, extensive conversation with them as to why I need to cut you off in my life. Do not come back in my life. That's kind of like my take on all of those things.
Because that's your closure.
Because I've already given them closure, whether they like it or not. I'm someone who's like, if I want to cut you out of my life, I will be really direct, and we will have a not a small conversation. Ain't no way that we'll have a small conversation. Okay, how are you have you cut off people in your life?
I have, but to be honest, I think when I cut people off, it's not the end all. Like, I would still let people that I've cut off in my life back into my life, just because the people that I've cut off, they did bad things to me, but I think I'm someone who forgets the feeling. Like, my wounds have healed physically, and the feeling doesn't hurt anymore. However, I'll be very wary of them, but I'll give them another chance. So at the moment, there's no one in my life that like I would never want to be friends with again. Whereas for you, it's very absolute, because you're like, I've given them closure, my closure is done.
Yeah, say your piece, I'll say my piece, and then we'll just move on with our lives, and just, you're gone.
Yeah. Gone
from my spam account, gone from like this. And then I would just like unadd them, and the only thing, like, for my...
No one has done me dirty enough to not want them in my life again. Well, I mean, yeah, they've done me dirty, but like not to the point where I'm like, I could never see them back in my life again.
Yeah, it's not like, if you were to tell me, does it hurt? I'd say like, no, it doesn't hurt. It's just a matter of like, I don't know.
You don't want to be involved with it?
There's no point. I kind of feel like I have no want to involve them back into my life.
But if they wanted to involve themselves back in your life, you wouldn't let them. Why?
I'd be very weary, just like you. Like,
but we
can't be close.
Why?
Why can't we be close?
Yeah.
I don't trust myself with them. See, it's not a matter of like I don't trust them. It's I don't trust myself with them. There's like, you know how like in a last episode was it the last episode?
Talking about what?
We were talking about trust in our last episode, and how I said like, oh, I'm fine with like trusting people and all of that. It's because of that I don't really trust myself. So I don't put a lot of trust in myself in those things. So if I were to involve myself back into those people, I don't think I could like, I don't think it's good for me to be close with them. We can be like acquaintances, or like I could be nice to you and I could like acknowledge your presence and all of those things, but like I don't think I'd want to involve you back into my life as close as how it was way before. And that's just like the type of person I am. And that's also kind of like, yeah, that's not important.
To me, it's just like, for you, like, hearing this from you is kind of like, there's a reason I cut you off, so you're not coming close to me anymore.
There's a reason why I cut you off, which is why I don't trust myself with you.
Now, this is the question that I asked you before. But how do you know if someone is toxic?
How do I know if someone is toxic?
Yeah. That's what I meant by today's episode, was kind of about toxicity, you know, like emotional manipulation and toxicity, like overly emotional. That's what I was kind of getting at.
Okay, how do I know if someone is toxic?
Yeah.
I don't. I have a very
Okay.
I'm a very idealistic person,
okay,
that's why.
Not to you then. How about like in general, what's considered a toxic person?
A toxic person? Someone who manipulates and gaslights and just like continues to like hurt that person without, what are those eyes?
What was I looking like?
I thought you were trying to say something to me with your eyes, like
babe.
Okay, but that's kind of what I think it is. Like when it comes to other people, and I think seeing red crimson flags is easier than it is for me.
Yeah.
Why
do you think, I just wanted to introduce the topic of toxicity, but why do you think people are toxic? Do you think they're aware of it, or they do it unconsciously?
Oh my gosh, I love this question.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because like, okay, be honest, it's not like you don't have any toxic traits.
Yeah, of course.
I have toxic traits.
Yeah.
But it's like I've thought about this.
Okay,
like,
but what about people who are like genuinely like their main personality are just, okay, actually you can answer that, but then I want to know like main personality is toxic. Like they're just always emotionally manipulative to everyone. Like, yeah, we have some toxic traits, but like we're not toxic people.
You're right. And then we're just gonna end it there because that's gonna be in my episode.
Ooh.
Anyways, the main question was like personality wise.
What do you mean? I was asking, do you think people who are toxic are aware of it?
I feel like they are, but they make excuses for it. Maybe no. I think they're not aware of it because there's people around them who kind of condone them and make it say like, oh, it's okay, blah, 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 blah. Have you met a really, really toxic person?
I think so. Well, I mean...
Oh, yeah, I have met a really, really toxic person. What am I talking about? Yes.
The person that we have in mutual, I think they're very toxic.
I'd say they are, yes. But I don't think they're aware of it.
I don't think so either. Actually...
And the thing is, the reason why I think they're not aware of it, because I've told them multiple times. Like...
And then what do they say?
They come up with excuses. They don't reflect about it.
I think they are aware of it.
You think they are?
I think they're aware of it, but they're ignoring it, maybe.
Because
or like... Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard, because I think about it, and I'm like, why are people toxic? For what reason? I also want to ask, like, what do they gain from being toxic? Like,
ignorance is bliss.
What do you mean?
Like, think about it. If, for example, right? When we're toxic.
Okay, she's about to pull out the definition.
When we're toxic, it's more of like, it's more of a gain for us. Okay? It's more of like a
selfish moment.
It's a selfish moment and all of those things. And so therefore, if I think someone is toxic, I just think they're very selfish and then they gain more for it.
What's something toxic that you've done? Give me an example so I know more like what we're talking about. You don't have to. I can cut it out.
Well,
if you want.
it's not that. It's just like just can't think of one.
Oh,
For example,
you
like-
can say what's something toxic I've done.
I don't know. I just think like no one's perfect, so like everyone has their own toxic traits. See, we're not even aware of our own toxic traits.
Okay, so what are toxic traits? What could that be? Give me an example.
Okay, can I?
Yeah. Google, because I don't. Even
Okay, if I were to give an example, I feel like me, it's not toxic. I just think it's a red flag moment. For me, a red flag moment is the fact that I just never initiate with anybody and all of those things. Like, it kind of comes up as like, oh, I'm not a reciprocal person and all of those things, like, and I don't really care about that person. That's kind of like, oh my gosh, I don't think that's like entirely toxic. I have my own reasons for doing that.
I mean, but so do people who are fully toxic. They have their own reasons for doing that.
What do you mean? So you think every toxic thing is justified?
I mean, maybe in their heads it is.
Yeah, well, okay.
So are you saying just because you have a reasoning for it, it's not toxic?
Okay, so then do you think it's not toxic for someone? I have a good reasoning.
Okay. Well, I don't know. What are these toxic people's reasoning? Maybe I need to talk to a toxic person so I can hear their reasons.
Okay, be honest. Do you think it's toxic, the fact that, like, some people who try to be friends with me, right? Well, not try to be friends with me, but, like, for some people, they message me a lot. And the fact that I'm not a very initiative person, do you think that's toxic?
No.
Okay, then never mind. Doesn't matter, because I'm not toxic then. Because I thought it was, because it's the fact that, like, they're the only ones who's initiating to me. And I'm like, I'm not initiating back.
That's just you don't want to be their friend.
Well, no, that's not why. I do want to be their friend. It's just a bit, for me, I'm just a bit scared. I'm a very talkative person. I don't want someone to get annoyed at me. That's why when people like initiate with me, I'm always reciprocal and I'm always talkative. But
okay, just look up toxic
I'll
things.
just
Let's
it's gonna be a
not
rabbit
dwell
hole.
on this.
Okay, someone who disrespects boundaries.
Respects boundaries.
Disrespects. Why do you think people do that?
Someone
Someone who's
I think
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I'll go. No, we'll go
Okay.
from each one.
ignorance.
Ignorance?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like they have no social awareness of what a boundary is.
Yeah.
I think. What do you think?
Or why people overstep boundaries?
Yes.
I think, I don't know. They want to. Some people just want to push people and see how far they could go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I think my one is more reasonable. Whereas, like, if someone was doing that,
But I think that's more
straight up
toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, okay, why would someone want to push their boundaries to see? I just thought of someone who did that to you. And I was like, wait, oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw what I said. Yeah, I think they want to see how far a person can go.
But for what reason? Like, what? Sure, they want to. Okay, that's a surface reason. But like, what's the reason under that? Why do they want to push that person? Why do they want to see how far they can go? For what reason?
See, I don't know. I don't know for the majority of people. I know for him.
Bae. Make a theory.
Make a theory?
Make a theory.
Well, it kind of depends. Some people just like.
Do you think a lot of people do that? Like, a lot of people push boundaries because they want to see how far a person can go, or is that a specific example for you?
Some people do it because it's fun. Some people find things fun when people get hurt.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, which is really messed up to me.
Humiliation thing.
Yeah, I know
Because
some people are like,
funny.
yeah, I know how some people are like, oh my gosh, it's so funny to like hurt this person or like push them around and stuff like that and their boundaries, but they're super nice, so it's like it doesn't really matter.
I think it's like decent. That sounds like psychopath behavior.
It is, but there are people who are like that.
Okay, what else is there?
There is,
So what we're saying is there's no reason behind people's like toxicity.
that is a reason, the fact that they find it fun.
But that's not really okay, it is a reason, but it's kind of like there's no method to the madness. They're just doing it because they want to do it.
See, find out next episode when I talk about that. Anyways, okay, let me cut that out. But honestly, if I'm being honest, there's just so many people, there's so many things that people do because it's fun. people break the rules because it's like, damn, I just crossed a boundary. People like do things they're not supposed to because they have that adrenaline rush. They have that like, oh, I did something I'm not supposed to do, and all of those things, you know. They just find it fun. It's that brain chemistry, and that's why people are toxic. And sure, they're like, maybe I shouldn't do that, but the fact that they shouldn't do that, it's like,
so emotional manipulation is fun for people.
Yes, actually, for some people it's fun for people to be emotionally manipulative.
Like, can you give me an example?
What do you mean?
Like, and how would that be fun? Because I feel like people, like we were saying,
Some people
they aren't aware of it.
Yeah, some people aren't aware of that. Some people aren't aware of it, but some people are like, I like playing around with this girl's feelings and all of that.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
I like how she's like running around like a little hamster.
That's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a sign of no empathy, or no, they're just apathetic towards that people? Do you think if that happened to them, they would be upset, or they would be like, "Wow, this is fun"? Are they just crazy?
Are they
funny little crazy
psychopathic
people?
I'm not sure. Who knows?
Well, give me a theory. I know you don't know for sure, but like,
okay, theory about what?
Like, do you just say a yes or no? Just make a guess. Do you think?
Do I think what?
If it happened to them, they would enjoy it?
If it happened to them, I feel like they would just leave. I think
they're better at recognizing the patterns.
They can recognize the patterns whether they're being played or not, I feel like. Maybe. No,
I feel like people
actually,
who are toxic get into toxic relationships and then they like.
Sorry. I think it's a pattern.
Okay.
I feel like maybe they were played before, and so like now that they have the power to play, they find enjoyment in that.
But then, okay, in those cases, I don't think that they are aware of it, because they just like they get these tendencies from past relationships, and then they end up relaying that to the next person. They're kind of like, oh, I thought this was normal because like my ex did this with me, or like I learned this from my family because that's how they treated me when I was younger, and like I thought that was normal, blah blah blah.
Then it just comes to the fact that it's experience.
Yeah.
But then there's some people who are like complete psychopaths and then they just do it. Or like some people who, like I said, I think the fact that I said that you can get adrenaline rushes from just like hurting people, I think that itself is a valid reason. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Freaks. Don't be toxic, guys. If you're a scent, what should we call our fans? If you're a little scent,
if you're a coin,
don't be toxic.
We don't condone toxicity here.
Don't be toxic. You know, maybe you could send out your little story to us and tell us what's toxic about you.
Yeah, send us so like we can react to it. I'm kind of interested.
Well, that was my episode for today. That was all the questions that I have. I feel like it's kind of therapeutic, you know, for the audience. Like, if you guys have something to say to your friends, if you have some emotional problems, go to them. Like, don't take the burden of your problems all by yourself if you can't handle it.
And if you want, we can do a mini support group.
We could.
You can show us like one of your things, like, you know, like at least we can like pick and choose.
Yeah, leave it in the comments. Maybe DM us on Instagram.
Yeah, we have an Instagram, and then I feel like it'd be nice if we just have like, we just sat down and we just read everyone's
trauma.
No,
wait, we're not laughing at your trauma.
We're not laughing at your trauma. But if you wanted like 2 cents and a mic of advice,
yeah, we could do like
you don't
shorts
even need.
Yeah,
we could do a Q&A of like short responding to what you guys say. Like, maybe you don't have to trauma dump us about like what happened, but maybe you could like ask us what you should do.
2 cents advice.
What you should do in this thing, and then we could give 2 cents. And I'm like, you know, it's not like solicited advice, but like, you know, like if you just wanted to hear our 2 cents, and like,
yeah, we can always give it. We can always dish it out.
Yeah, and as you can see, we're like 2 brains. It's not like you're not gonna have the exact same answer from us. So we'll be like, do you agree?
Yeah, we often have differing thoughts,
so you can have different like answers.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, we're really fishing for this content.
Yeah.
Well, how did you feel about today's episode?
I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was really, really, really interesting about emotions. I was like, I feel like this is like my territory. I feel like I'm a very emotional person.
Yeah, when you were like, I want to ask questions that relate to you, Carissa? Or like, you know how you were like, I was brainstorming what to talk about and I wanted to ask things that were like you would be interested in. I was like, I think Jenny would be really interested in emotions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that it was something in your field of knowledge. Thank you everybody for watching today's episode of 2 Cents on a Mic. This was Carissa and Jenny talking about emotions. We have our Spotify, our Instagram, our TikTok. We also have a Discord that you can join now. So go and join that one in the card in the description down below. Do you have any final words?
Please comment. I really like reading your comments. That's all I got from you guys. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification.
Okay.
I'm learning.
She's
I'm learning. But really, I love reading all your comments. I remember, like, sometimes I just click on our videos and I scroll down and see if anyone comments. Like, it will mean the world to me what you thought of the videos and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or even message us. I love reading messages where people tell us like what they thought about it. But comments are cool too.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that's 2 Cents on a Mic signing. Oh wait, Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Merry Christmas. Bye bye. Whoosh.